This is Ben Shapiro. He's a far-right bomb thrower type of person, a right-wing nutcase, basically, who's obsessed with spreading fear and hate and divisiveness through society, has been for a long time. Well, anyway, I guess he decided to address something that happened on American Idol recently with Katy Perry talking about gun control. I want to give this a listen, see what he had to say for himself. I'm 100% sure this is about to be really depraved. So yeah, let's listen to see what he had to say.
So our chattering classes are now sounding off about gun control again. It is wonderful, and it is, of course, via all the mechanisms of our popular media. Katy Perry, who's a person who sings for a living.
Okay, that's downplaying her relevance or importance in society. She does a lot more than just sing for a living. She writes songs, she organizes beats into samples and then builds songs out of them. It's honestly not easy to be, a singer or an artist or whatever like that. And him downplaying the contribution that she has to society is kind of sad. Like, come on.
And so she was on American Idol, and there was a mass shooting survivor who auditioned on American Idol. And
was it David Hogg? He survived the Parkland attack with Nick Cruz, and he's an activist now for, gun control, basically. I'm not sure if that's who it is that was on there, but let's keep listening here.
This caused Katy Perry, a person who is
Katy Perry, okay,
wildly famous and wildly wealthy, to talk about how America is failing people because mass shootings take place in the United States.
Oh, absolutely. Not just because they take place, but because they're so widespread. It's a massive problem here. It's absurd.
On ABC.
Lost a lot of friends. Eight students were killed. 2 teachers were killed.
Oh, okay. I guess it wasn't David Hogg.
And it's just really been negative, man. Santa Fe's had a bad rap here since 2018. What you doing, Katie?
Our country has failed us.
Facts.
This is not okay. You should be singing here because you love music.
It's disturbing shit. How many was it 39 attacks in January of 2023 or something? It's insane. It's out of control. And for what? So that MAGA nutcases can hoard 15,000 guns in their basement. What's the point here? America has way too many guns. Way too many. Okay? It shouldn't be this easy to get a gun here. There should be some kind of regulation of some sort, anything. They have opened it up so it's nearly impossible to regulate. And it's disgusting. She's correct.
It's true.
Not because you have to go through that.
I agree.
You didn't have to lose 8 friends.
So somebody in the chat said the right to bear arms. Let's read the section of the Second Amendment, shall we? I just want to make a point here. Okay, this is the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia. Well-regulated is the key there. And militia is a key word there, too. Being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So this is from a time when the 2 main political parties battling each other were Federalists and states' rights people. I don't remember what the other one was called. Federalists and something else. Federalists and something. Anyway, the Federalists wanted a strong federal government, and the other guys wanted a strong state government, and a very, very tiny federal government, right? That's a battle. I get it. That's something that we could debate about, I suppose. That's perfectly fine with me. But the purpose of the Second Amendment should be understood within that context. The right of states to bear arms, the right of states to have their own militaries shall not be infringed. That was the idea. Okay, states are allowed to have their own militias. That's really what the point was here. And we have that. It's called the National Guard. States have their own militaries. that come in and help contribute to disasters and stuff like that. That's what that amendment was about. Now, unfortunately, we have something in the United States. Well, not unfortunately. We have something called common law, where the judiciary makes decisions that basically form out new laws through reinterpreting, what the old laws meant when they were written and that kind of thing. Common law is a good thing, in my opinion. Not every country has that. Russia doesn't have common law. But the amount of power that it is placed in the hands of the Supreme Court and the judicial system in general is absolutely out of control. They took that line from the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. They took that and they reinterpreted it. And here's what they reinterpreted. They said, since there's a comma right here between the word state and the word the, it's supposed to be two separate thoughts. That's how they reinterpreted it. So they're saying the Second Amendment is really saying states can have a militia so that they, can have a free state, and the right of the people to bear arms won't be infringed. That's the point. But either way you look at it, no matter what, well-regulated still applies to all of this, in my opinion. The whole thing is absurd and wrong, and honestly, I don't even give a shit if the Second Amendment did say, everybody in the United States is entitled to a gun, or hell, even a nuclear weapon with absolutely no regulation. I don't care if that's what it said. That has led to a society that is broken. If that's what the Founding Fathers really believed, I don't think it is, but if it was, they got it wrong. They got it wrong, and that should be erased from existence and replaced with something that creates a better society. Because the society we live in now is fucking broken with how many guns there are all over the place. Anyway, keep listening to Ben Shapiro here.
So I'm just going to point out this is American Idol, is it not?
Yeah, it's American Idol, and there are even people here who suffered from mass attacks. There are people fucking everywhere that suffered from mass attacks because the right wing of the American government is unhinged from reality at this point. It's fucking disgusting. Straight up fucking wrong.
Yes, we all don't like mass shootings, but our country has effing failed us, and Katy Perry, who is worth $330 million, apparently, weeping openly because our country has failed us.
Yeah, our country has failed us. She is safe, but she is fighting for people who are in a terrible situation. It's on. What point is he even getting at here? If somebody doesn't directly suffer from a situation, then they're not allowed to talk about that situation at all? Is that like what he's trying to get at?
There's a baseline notion in the United States that has somehow taken root in a huge number of Americans that any bad thing that happens in life, terrible things, people who are evil, doing evil, insane things, like a mass shooting of children, for example, that these things are things where if they happen, the country has failed us.
That's not the case. If they happen completely out of control, 39 of them in 1 month, the country's failed. Yeah, absolutely. I'm comfortable saying that. Attacks like this happen every now and then in other countries. Though for what it's worth, it is avoidable. This happened in, I think, 1999 in Australia. The band called Silverchair wrote a song about it, Pure Massacre. They created a gun buyback program, cracked down on weapons and everything in Australia. Hasn't happened since. It is avoidable. And we have 39 of them a month happening here right now, okay? So, I don't know what to say here.
That the government has failed us in some way. That the system has failed us in
That is absolutely true.
some way. Right? Questions that used to be directed at God and had no answers. I think, why do bad things happen to good people? They're now directed at the ultimate power in the universe, which is not God. It is government.
So he's saying that we should ask God why there are so many mass attacks in America? There's no need. I don't need to ask God. I know why. I can look at statistics.
And so the idea is the system as a whole has failed us. Now listen, I think we can all feel as emotionally strongly as Katy Perry does about when evil things happen, being horrified by them. But the channeling of that into the country has effing failed us, the country has effing failed all of us, is a little much. Again, coming from like the same system of freedoms that exists in the United States that allows for Katy Perry to be Katy Perry. You know, that system is not capable, and no system really is, as it turns out, of preventing all evil in the universe. There's this sort of utopia.
Nobody said that it should be capable of preventing all evil in the universe. All anybody ever said is that there shouldn't be 39 fucking mass shootings in a month, okay? We shouldn't have that shit. And look at Australia as a pattern. We can do exactly what they did and get the same results. Look at the United Kingdom. Look at European countries, as many as you want. Do what they did to solve this problem. The right does not want this problem solved, seemingly. They're totally cool with mass attacks happening, 39 per month. This is fucking psychotic now, okay? And Ben Shapiro seemingly wants this to continue, these attacks. I don't know how else to take this. How else am I supposed to interpret this when he is carrying water for this? Absolutely absurd.
Utopian view. I've talked about this before. The sort of compared to what syndrome. And people on the left politically, they never do the compared to what syndrome. They never say compared to what other system.
Okay, what he means is compared to what fallacy. That's a fallacy. Why would we even need to compare it? I don't want 39 fucking mass shootings per month in the United States anymore. That's all I need to say. I don't care what I'm comparing it to. It's irrelevant. This is a logical fallacy, and he knows it is. He's distracting from the main point here. That what we're experiencing right now is fucking disgusting and wrong.
Other than the United States is preferable. And if you want to say it, just say it. If Katy Perry literally wants to call for confiscation of literally all guns in the United States, which is what she presumably wants.
This is thinking in blacks and whites. You can want some regulation without wanting to confiscate by force every gun in America. And Ben Shapiro knows that this is pure propaganda. You can't convince me that he's so fucking stupid that he doesn't realize exactly what he's doing. He went to Harvard. He knows what he's doing. He's a lawyer, okay? He knows what propaganda is and how it's formulated. This is just a flat-out blatant lie.
Then just do it. Then just do it. But what is highly irritating is this not the emotional response. The emotional response that leads to a notion that you should be able to blame the entire system without any reference to a solution. The entire system is to blame.
Dude, people reference solutions all the time. There are a billion recommended solutions out there. What's he talking about? No solution. Really? And the solution is not taking every gun in America. It is reducing the number of guns, not by force, by choice. Create a gun buyback program. The fewer guns there are around, the fewer guns are available for some nutcase kid to grab and bring to school. Yeah, maybe you're a responsible gun owner and you only use it for hunting. Hell, maybe you have like an old gun that hasn't been used in years and you know you can get a couple $100 for it from the government. You have no need or you have no use for it, so sell it to the government. And now that gun is not available for your psychotic son to grab onto and bring to school. You probably don't even realize your son is a little nutcase. You know, I bet Ethan Couch's family didn't think their son was a nutcase. I bet Nicholas Cruz's family didn't think their son was a nutcase. No one ever sees this coming. Reduce the number of guns in the United States through will, not by force, but because they want to. And it will alleviate the problem at least a little bit. Ben Shapiro knows this. He understands statistics, okay? I don't want to hear any shit from him about this.
You see this on the left very frequently. Bernie Sanders is very fond of this. Every Bernie Sanders tweet is along these lines. Why is it fair that there are so many people who have so much and some people have so few? Why is that so fair? No system should allow this. No system should allow this? Okay, provide me with your alternative that you think is better.
Dude, there are a billion alternatives. What's he talking? He's acting like the left has no solutions. No, the left is not Donald Trump, FYI. Oh, we're still waiting for that health plan from Donald Trump, by the way. That health care plan he said he's going to replace Obamacare with, that he never turned over, because he never fucking had one. It wasn't about policy with Trump. And it's not about policy with the right either. Never was. It was about propaganda. That's it. And that's what we're listening to with Ben Shapiro right now.
Oh, your alternative doesn't work here. Oh, your alternative is a bad idea.
He didn't even present an alternative that he was going to criticize. What?
That doesn't matter. Your alternative is constrained by reality. That doesn't matter. The constraints of reality no longer matter. They never quite say what they want when it comes.
Are you kidding me? I'll tell you exactly what the left wants right now. More gun regulation and a gun buyback program. You must be joking. Left-wing figures have been talking about gun buybacks and heavier regulation for years. You can't convince me he doesn't know that.
It comes to gun control. A few of them do, right? So David Hogg, who famously got into Harvard because he was present at Parkland when the mass shooting occurred.
Okay, I don't think that's the reason why he got into Harvard. Harvard is very difficult to get into, okay? You have to have really high LSAT scores. You have to have all kinds of credentials, and you have to have references. It's not something you just get into because you're famous. God, I think Ben is just upset that David Hogg got into the same school as him.
Was rejected from Harvard, and then he reapplied based on the mass shooting and the fact that he was a prominent activist, and then he got in. And he tweeted out, "You have no right to a gun. You are not a militia. When you're talking about your Second Amendment rights, you're talking about a state's right to have what is today the National Guard."
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was what the Second Amendment was written about.
The modern interpretation of the Second Amendment is a ridiculous fraud pushed for decades by the gun lobby. Well, I'm first of all amused to see that David Hogg has become not only a pillow magnate, but also a constitutional scholar.
Well, he did get into Harvard, so that's not nothing.
This is a lie. You do in fact have a right to a gun.
No, you don't. Well, I mean, under the current interpretation, you do, sure. But if we're taking this in a vacuum without the piss-poor interpretation of the constitutional amendment, then no, you don't. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, the Declaration of Independence established that our rights come from somebody other than government. It comes outside of government. Ben Shapiro knows all this. Okay, he went to Harvard. My wife is going to a law school. I know just what I pick up from what's happening around me. Okay? I do not have a law degree. I have the most basic bottom of the barrel law knowledge that one can have. This guy went to Harvard and graduated. He knows what I'm talking about here. He knows more about this than me. I'm 100% sure. So why is it that he's straight up bald-faced lying about this? The Declaration of Independence says our rights come from somewhere other than government. Ben Shapiro, what he's referring to here is the fact that government granted rights to a gun to us. So technically, according to the government, we have a right to a gun. But he knows that's not what David Hogg was talking about. And he knows that's not what the founders of the country were talking about either.
I'm amused to see that David Hogg has become not only a pillow magnate, but also a constitutional scholar.
I don't know what he means by pillow magnate. Is that like a shot across the bow for his buddy Mike Lindell? I don't know.
In his time at Harvard, this is a lie. You do in fact have a right to a gun. And the militia is not, in fact, the nationally run National Guard. Militias at the time of the founding were, in fact, rather informal gatherings of people within the states, all of whom own guns in their homes. So he's just...
Yeah, this is back from a time when this country was not fully formed out into what it is today. The government was not fully formed out into what we have today.
Wrong on the facts about all of this.
No, he's not. He's not actually wrong about this. That was the intent of the Second Amendment originally. Now, like I said, we have common law where judges reinterpret laws. This is super common. They reinterpret laws to mean something other than what the original writer intended, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. It happens a lot. In this case, it was a piss-poor decision that was made. The decision was make it so that everybody can have a gun no matter what. It's a right. Everyone has a right to a gun. Fucking absurd.
But my favorite thing about David Hogg is his follow-up. So David Hogg followed this up by saying, well, are you saying that we're coming for your guns, or are you saying that we're incompetent? Because it can't be both. No, what I'm saying is that for the left, you're incompetently coming for the guns. That's what I'm saying. Because you don't actually have a plan. There's never a plan.
There is a plan. Are you fucking kidding me? The plan that pretty much everyone to the left of hunting the homeless for sport puts forward is institute exactly what Australia did, or even a more moderate form of what Australia did. A gun buyback program to limit the number of guns that are floating around, a willing gun buyback program. If somebody wants to sell their gun back, they are free to. Gun buyback program and heavier regulation. Ban assault rifles the way that Bill Clinton did in 1994. Ban bump stocks. Make guns more expensive. Universal background check. What is he talking about? There are no plans. There are a billion plans. A billion possible solutions, and we don't even need to take all of them. We could just take a couple, and it would alleviate the situation dramatically. He wants nothing.
Plan. It's just about pure emotional response. A bad thing has happened, therefore do something. The do something routine.
No, see, that's the issue. A bad thing didn't happen. Okay? A bad thing happened over and over and over and over and over. How many is that? 5? Over and 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 over 39 times. This month, okay? This month. No, I don't know if it's this month. In January, at the very least, of 2023. I don't think it was this month specifically. It happens hundreds of times per year. Thousands, maybe. Too fucking much. Okay, it happens entirely too often. This isn't a bad thing happened, so we have to do something. Oh, but he was perfectly okay with us doing something when 9/11 happened, right? A single event takes place. He's okay with changing the entire internal structure of the U.S. government to make sure this one event doesn't happen again. How many people have died from guns this year? 20,138 gun deaths, gun-related deaths in 2022. 20,138. How many people died on 9/11? 3,000. 2,996, actually. 3,000 people. 9/11 was a one-time event. Needed to be addressed, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been. And, it was right for us to change the internal structure of the U.S. government to make sure this didn't take place again. I'm not trying to downplay the relevance or importance or devastation of 9/11. But I'm saying we should take gun deaths a lot more seriously than we do. This event took place, 9/11, and Ben Shapiro cared. We are losing 7 times as many people per year to gun deaths as we did to 9/11, and Ben Shapiro sleeps. Doesn't say shit.
It grows quite old because it turns out that in the real world, you actually have to have serious solutions to the problems.
We have serious solutions. I just listed a whole bunch. There are a billion serious solutions. He wants to pretend that there aren't any when he knows very well that there are.
But it's amazing because, again, the virtue signal of just showing emotion about a bad thing that happened is so strong in American culture. So I remember I was at an event.
What else do you do? What else can be done now? They're not going to do shit about the gun deaths. What else can be done?
One time. And it was an event about climate change. And many of the people who were talking were experts on climate change. I'm talking like climatologists from MIT or Caltech. And they were talking about climate change. And they were saying many of the things that I say on the show. Right? Many of the things I say on the show are things like, I don't have to doubt the IPCC estimates with regard to the possibilities, the range of climate change over the course of the century to suggest that many of the solutions that are being proposed just don't work. And there was a very, very famous celebrity.
So try nothing. That's usually the Republican position. If they accept climate change as a problem, they say a lot of the solutions proposed won't solve it, so let's try nothing at all. You know, climate change is on its way. This isn't going, adding some wind turbines isn't going to solve the problem completely. So let's just keep pumping CO2 into the atmosphere. Why not? Fuck it. That's the black and white fallacy that Ben Shapiro has been engaging in and is currently engaging in. He only seems to view things in blacks and whites, or at least pretends to. You know what? If we can't solve this problem with guns by banning assault weapons, we shouldn't do anything at all. If we can't solve the gun problem by banning bump stocks or by creating a gun buyback program, we shouldn't do anything. Make guns more widely available. That's what he's suggesting here, seriously.
The range of climate change over the course of the century to suggest that many of the solutions that are being proposed just don't work. And there was a very, very famous celebrity who then got up and started yelling at the climate experts. Yelling at them. Screaming and crying at them.
Well, I mean, if they say they don't work, so we shouldn't do anything at all, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that would be fucking stupid to suggest. Dumb as dog shit, if you will. You should try to implement a series of solutions. If one doesn't solve the problem completely, it will at least alleviate it a little bit.
Cursing at them. How can you say there's nothing we can do? I've taken all these environmental measures at my own house. I've taken these environmental measures at my own home, and I've done these things. And it's super important that I've done these things. And everybody in the room recognized that what this person was saying had no impact on climate change. And in fact, this person probably, their carbon emissions, I would say, the person taking some private jets, their carbon emissions exceed whatever mitigations were taken at this person's property.
Yeah, but they're working to be a solution to the problem is the point. By taking extra steps to alleviate the issues, even in his own house, it's a proof of concept type of thing. Even if one person's steps were negligible, proving that it's possible to reduce your carbon footprint per person shows that if everybody did this, or if it was enforced by the government that everybody is required to, say, put solar panels on their roof or something, thus cutting down on their electricity bill. Every new home built has to have solar panels on the roof or something like that. It's a proof of concept. If you do that for every new home built, it will alleviate the problem. Proof of concept. But once again, Ben Shapiro is thinking in blacks and whites, or at least pretending to, and saying if this one solution doesn't completely solve the problem, we shouldn't do any solutions at all.
But the response in the room was clapping. Clapping, right? You clap for the people who don't actually have a connection with a political reality. You clap for those people. You cheer for those people because, again, the tears matter more than the solutions. That is not a way to generate actual political solutions in the country.
No, those political solutions are here. We have them. We've suggested them. We've, published them and given them to lawmakers and said, please do these solutions. And they say no. What else do you do? What else can be done to solve the problem but to cry when it doesn't work? When they refuse to implement these very basic, simple solutions that anybody could put into practice, that the government could just, pass a bill, and tomorrow every new home built would have solar panels. Love Angel 1337, he's got a point. It's not by acting at an individual level that will fix climate change. Impose regulations on companies that pollute, the businesses that release way too much CO2. Oh, I agree. Oh, absolutely. That's one of the steps that we should take, a carbon tax. We should implement a carbon tax, no question. That's not the only solution, though. There are many, many, many things that we need to do to solve these problems. And, here we sit, Ben Shapiro saying, since a carbon tax won't work, since putting solar panels on new homes won't work, since each of these individual things isn't going to solve the problem, we should do absolutely nothing at all.
But I think we're a country that may have moved beyond political solutions, and now it's just about the emotivism. Because, again, the implication...
Yeah, we have moved past political solutions because we've already presented them all. And people are refusing to take them. They're refusing to implement them. Yeah, we've moved beyond political solutions because they're already out there. They have been for years. All we have to do is actually put it into practice. And people are refusing to.
Of when Katy Perry does that sort of stuff is that if you disagree with her on her proposed solutions, which she doesn't even articulate, it's because you don't care. You're fine with people getting shot. And that's the ugliest form of politics. Well, all of this is really, really horrifying. You know what else is horrifying? The prospect of death.
Oh, my God.
Yes. And it's something that's going to happen to all of us. So why wouldn't you just insure against all of the consequences of your own demise? You're walking down.
Dude, is this a 4-minute ad that he's about to do? We're 7 minutes into this video, this 11-minute video, and it seems like he's about to do an advertisement. Holy shit, dude. How much did this dude get paid for a 4-minute advertisement? Usually when I take sponsorships, which is super uncommon, I've only done a few of them, they have me do like a 1 minute, like 30 to 60 second integration, sometimes a 90-second.
Down the street, and suddenly you look up, and there, falling from the sky, is an asteroid. Well, as it approaches you at a speed too fast for you to avoid, you think to yourself, man, really should have listened to Shapiro and gone over to Policy Genius and gotten life insurance. With Policy
Sure enough, dude, this is a 4-minute advertisement. Oh my God, that's long. Anyways, yeah, Ben Shapiro knows exactly what he's doing. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses, I assume that they're just willing participant, gullible suckers. They don't realize that they've been duped. Even the governing body members themselves, I don't think they realize that they were duped all the way up the chain. I think every one of them is a believer. But that's not the case with Ben Shapiro. Dude went to Harvard, okay? He's too intelligent to be this fucking stupid. I don't believe for a second that this guy really does believe the propaganda that he spreads. You know, the other day in a video I was watching from Ben Shapiro, he said, somebody asked him in an interview, do you ever wonder if you're doing the right thing? Like maybe you're on the wrong side of history. And he says, I think any moral acting person wonders, am I doing the right thing? Am I fighting for the right side? And I thought to myself, have I ever wondered that? The answer is no. I've never wondered that. Of course I'm fighting for the right side. That's never even crossed my mind. You know why? I'm not trying to get trans people banned from society and hated more. I'm all for inclusion and acceptance and love and building bridges between people. That's what it's always been about for me. I've never wondered if I'm the baddie. If you wonder if you're the baddie, maybe you are the baddie. You ever consider that? I mean, I think logically about my positions. Like, am I contributing to the harassment or pain or emotional damage of people around me? The answer is no. So, I'm not the baddie, as far as I'm concerned. If I am contributing to people's lives in a positive way, if I'm building bridges and relationships and making life even that much easier for the people around me, I'm not the baddie. What's Ben Shapiro doing? He is literally making, with every video he produces like this, he makes it easier for mass shootings to take place. Every video he produces on the trans community, more trans people commit or are killed. In this type of situation, I'm comfortable saying Ben Shapiro is the baddie, and I don't really have any problem rationalizing or coming to terms with that or figuring out if that's the case or not. I don't really wonder if I'm the baddie in this equation here at all. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I think this dude's terrible. When I see more attacks, I feel like Mr. Incredible when he watched the fallen heroes and just hung his head. Except I feel even more powerless. I know. You feel powerless, absolutely. It's hard. There's nothing that you can do. You know? Nothing to be done. But all you can do is hope it doesn't happen in your area and keep on fighting. Keep doing your best. Do your best. Don't worry about the rest. That's what I always say. no other choice, right? Do what you can. I used to be a far-right dumbass. I even voted for Trump, but I looked at what I believed and thought was right and figured out I was on the wrong side, so I've changed a lot. Yeah, that's good. It's good. You know, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance that goes along with being on the right. And once you come to terms with the fact that you've used logical fallacies like for years and years and years and stop using those fallacies, things get a lot better for you. And it becomes blatantly obvious who the baddie is and how you can stop being that baddie, you know? I keep calling them baddies because that's a reference to an old-time movie or show or something about the Nazis. Ben Shapiro actually described it in that video I was talking about. He said, you know, you ever wonder if the Nazis were standing there? You know, they've got jet black uniforms on. People call them stormtroopers. They've got skull and crossbones on their belt buckles and stuff like that. You ever wonder if they stand there and talk to themselves and ask, you know, the British people, they have nice light blue uniforms colored like the sky, and ours are jet black. You know, they have like clouds as their emblem, and we have skulls. You ever wonder if we're the baddies? It's pretty funny. I just don't know how Ben Shapiro can, like, not see that he is the bad person here with all of the shit that he endorses. Literally, in, you know, the Daily Wire is a terrorist organization as far as I'm concerned. Look at Matt Walsh and the things that he says and does. Matt Walsh is a full-blown terrorist. The other day, Matt Walsh said, if you're disturbed by the shit I say about trans people on air, you'd be even more disturbed about the shit I say about them, you know, in private. You'd be even more disturbed by the shit I think about them. He said he would go to literally any lengths. Literally. He'd do literally anything to stop trans people from, you know, propagating in society or whatever. That's what Matt Walsh said. Part of the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is this guy's boss. That's fucking psychotic, dude. Ben Shapiro's the baddie. Always was. Quick reminder, don't forget to check out my website, owenmorgan.com. I would appreciate that very much. Just go to my website. When you go there, a little pop-up appears, says, subscribe to my email list right here. Just give me your name, it's optional, and give me your email address, and you will get access to early, complete, some ad-free videos every single week. You can also check out the website itself for some of this stuff, like if you want access to ad-free videos or whatever, and it's, you know, it's an aggregator, so you can look at all videos released the week of February 26th. Just click that in the sidebar there. You can look at all of my main channel's videos. You know, March 5th, the week of March 5th, it lists every video released for that week that's up here so far. So go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, and yeah, access early stuff that's ad-free. Pretty useful.